Hey guys, this video is for the Volvo S60 owners that want to take the position lights in the rear of the car. um, I don't know why they're called position lights, and replace them with LEDs. If you replace them with LEDs, you're going to get a message that says bulb failure position light, and there's really not anything you're going to be able to change by modifying the lights or anything to fix it. What you need to do is get load balancing resistors to put in line to increase the resistance in the circuit to make it look like the old incandescent bulbs are there, and then that message will go away and your lights will work perfectly. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is the back of a Volvo S60. These two lights right here are called position lights. And if you look real close in there, they're not bulbs like that anymore. Those are LEDs. I'll show you over on this side. This is what they are. They're your standard new style LEDs where you've got multiple LEDs. They slot right in where the old bulbs go, and they work beautifully. But you have that issue of the message that you get, which is really annoying. Okay, typically what they tell you to do is wire one of these in. And if you look at the back of this, on each side you've got a gray wire coming out, this side and on the other side as well. This wire is the one, see how it's got both, it jumped across there, and if you look on the other side, that's these pins right here, and that goes to these two bulbs. So this wire should be hooked with this on this wire, and the other end going to ground, except this is a 6 ohm 50 watt load, and 6 ohms is not enough. If you do that, it turns your lights off, so the lights don't work at all. So I played around a little bit and I found the solution. You wire 2 of these in series to give yourself a 12 ohm load, and that's enough resistance so that your message goes away but the lights work. Now what you want to do is either get one of the crimps. I ended up just cutting the wire, but you can get one of those little crimp things where they just crimp right on, and put anyway, I want to put this end of this onto there, and the other end goes to ground. Now on the passenger side, there's a bolt right over here. You can just put one end right under that to go to ground without having to do anything special. On the other side, I have wired in, the battery happens to be right here, so I've got a little wire wired in for my trailer lights with my ground right here, so I just added one of these over to ground. And you can just extend this wire over to the battery. It doesn't need to be anything special. And then mount them to the inside. I just took a couple of I took a drill bit to enlarge the holes that went through those little tabs by default, because they were pretty small. I mean, teeny tiny really. So I just took a drill bit to kind of make them a little bit larger. And then I just took a regular old nail here, marked the position of the little holes on those resistors with a pencil, and then just took a hammer and that nail and punched a little hole through that little spot over there. Because these things are going to get hot, you want to mount them to the metal so that they dissipate that heat as much as possible. And take some machine screws. You may have to get the machine screws, you may have to get a drill bit, stuff like that, but the pennies for that kind of stuff. You get those mounted. As you can see, I still have to mount these, and I'm going to do the same thing and mount them on this little section down here if I can get it. See that piece of metal back there? It's just going to get mounted to that. But let me show you what happens when you're finished. Okay, now I have my load balancing resistors mounted. Everything all cinched up and looking good on that side and on that side. So let's go turn the car on and see if we have any messages. Okay, as you can see, I have a couple of indicator messages. One's going to be my trunk lid is open. On this car, temporarily my anti-skid is off because the clock spring underneath the steering wheel, it's a steering wheel position sensor is what it is bad in this car. It's common for this car. I'm going to replace it. But if the bulbs were not recognized, then I would have a third message, which I do not, that says bulb failure position light. I do not have that, so it recognizes the load balance resistors and the bulbs as being valid. So let's go take a look and see if they're working. Now it is light outside, but you can see even with the sunlight hitting the back of the car here, you can still see those bulbs. Those LED bulbs look fantastic and they are very bright. And the way these reflectors are designed and the way the LEDs are positioned around the sides and so forth, it really, really looks good. I have my load balancers inside, and if I feel these things will get hot. They do have a lot of current going through them. So that's why you want to mount them to a piece of metal, because they need something to dissipate that heat. So there you have it. If you want to put LED position lights in a Volvo S60, and this would probably work on most any of your Volvos that use that same bulb style, you're going to need 2 of the 6 ohm 50 watt resistors wired in series, and then that goes from your bulb light to a ground. And on these Volvos, your grounds are easily accessible, like I just showed you. Really super easy to do. Once I figured out what I needed to do, this whole project really, once I got everything gathered together, was 30 minutes. It's not a big project. So there you have it.